The images we see here in indelible pencil tags from Philadelphia public schools serve as newly imagined urban artifacts, some dating from as far back as 1938. Recorded in pencil, these marks have defied the medium's inherent fragility. Throughout the ages, doesn't every student's pencil contain a marking lead or graphite tip, but almost always in combination with a pink rubber eraser at the other end? These tags have survived decades of criminalization. But what of the more recent forces of gentrification and privatization? What does the writing on the walls say to us and about us? In 1994, a group of scientists studying caves in the south of France found one containing the oldest human-painted images yet discovered. Similarities with the cave paintings abound. Markings created with the implements on surfaces most accessible to each artist to express themselves and communicate with us, the people of the future. In both, we can see the playful nature of youth and the primal desire to mark one's territory. Through these spare, fragile images, we are witness to the beginnings of something great and unknown at the time of their creation. In the hastily scrawled marks contained here, we see the origins of the traditional Philly graffiti style. The various flourishes of penmanship, now known as hands, show a unique style that was starting to formulate here on the decaying walls of the public school system. This is the DNA, the blueprint, if you will, of the phenomenon that is now global. Once graffiti left Philadelphia, the first stop was to conquer New York City, then the world. Legendary New York City graffiti writer Stay High 149 called graffiti the voice of the ghetto. Because ghetto youth were often misrepresented or excluded completely from mainstream media, they established an alternative form of expression that grew into one of the most important art movements of the 20th century. Allow us to leave the dank hallways and stairwells and return for a moment to France's Chauvet Cave. Upon its discovery, the French government hired renowned documentary filmmaker Werner Herzog to produce the film Cave of Forgotten Dreams, before it was sealed off from all visitors in order to preserve the cave paintings, recognized as a treasure for all mankind. Contrast this with how these Philly graffiti artifacts are treated. Having survived decades of institutional neglect, they are painted over without ceremony, often just before the school building is transferred into private hands. Perhaps it's just a record of existence to say, we were here, we lived, and we will not be forgotten. But what memories or messages will be left for the next generation to see?
Nowadays, kids aren't even writing until they're like out of college age. I mean, back in the 80s and maybe early 90s, it's like it was common for people to start writing at maybe 11, 12, 13 years old. By the time you were, a senior in high school, you should have, made a name for yourself, and that's basically the time when most writers would quit. At like 16, 17, you were quitting, 18 maybe, after that, But now, kids aren't even starting until they're in their 20s. I'm like, God, I think about it, and I'm like, I'm thankful that there's writers like, that are out there doing stuff. But at the same time, I wonder to myself, like, wow, what were you guys doing when you were teenagers? I mean, like, what the fuck, man? I mean, like, what did you do for fun? I mean, we wrote graffiti and broke into abandoned buildings and, hopped freight trains. I mean, that's what we did, I mean, I don't know what they were doing.
We all went to the same school. And they was definitely getting on smash. So at this time, I had met this guy by the name of Echo. He was like, yo, man, cause I had detention. I think I came late for like a week straight. So I had detention. And he was in there. Same way situation. You write on paper. This is West Philly High. And he was writing. And I was like, what that? I said, this now I'm saying to him now, what that say? He's like, say Echo. I'm like, oh, yeah, I seen you, dog. Yeah, you got a couple hits, you know what I mean? But at this time, I'm already up at this time now. I'm up, I'm around, like, you know. So we started talking, stuff like that. He was like, yo, that's you? And that was cool. He's like, yo, you getting up? I'm like, yeah, dog, I'm up here. I'm out here, like, you know what I mean? So I was already up at this time. Me and Echo got cool, started hanging, whatever. I met other writers like Sade, Ruda. These are guys that were doing it from like, you know, in their area, like 52nd Street, stuff like that. This guy named Duran, he didn't really write, but he just hung with them, stuff like that. So, you know, I was like, yeah, that's what's up. So me and Echo started kicking it, hanging out, doing little stuff here and there. But I seen Pill one day. He was like, yo, you getting up now? I'm like, yeah. You see it? Yeah. I'm around now. He's like, yeah, man, we gotta go out. We gotta get together. I'm like, all right, we get together because we feel in the same neighborhood. But it just took me to how to build my stuff up to get at him, or he get at me, whatever. Like, yeah, I see you, dog. You getting
Who has the ticket? Oh man, 3724777. Whose ticket is it?
You didn't win?
Oh man. It's probably my mother-in-law, she can't see. Uh-oh. Next one's an alcohol basket. Everybody get ready, it's an orange ticket. Orange ticket 4574. Orange ticket 4574.
Hang on.
We're at the point now that like we're really killing the school, and like the principal and shit ain't going for that. So anybody who got caught graffitiing had to clean everybody's stuff off the school. So when you seen somebody cleaning and you didn't get caught yet, you did it again because kind of was like, you got to keep on cleaning my shit. That's how we razzed each other. You know what I mean? And then when they caught me, they made an example of me. They didn't make me scrub anything. They expelled me from school altogether, Northeast High School. And I remember I had this Magnum. It was this purple, and I was tearing it up, and nobody else had that purple. And he's like, well, we're going to go check your locker. I'm going to check your books. And I made sure I never had anything in there. It wasn't right in my locker, even though every graffiti writer in those days wrote on their locker. I didn't write on my locker. And I'm seeing, so they can't find nothing. And all of a sudden, the one guy says, make him pull his pants down. And that's where I had it, right here. And they pulled that marker out. It was like pulling a gun out, you know what I mean? It was like, you're expelled, and that was it. I was in 10th grade. I didn't finish it. Actually, to tell you the truth, I got my GED sitting in jail.
intrigued me to write on walls or to learn how to write is one time I went to my father's brother's house, my other uncle. I went over his house. They lived in Mount Airy, and I lived in the Northeast. So I remember the car ride. It was me and my two cousins in the back seat. Graf kind of chose me out of who was in the back seat because I was the one looking out the window at the walls. And I remember the whole ride up there, I was seeing KB, Cool Brat. This was in 1983, like I remember it vividly. And the whole ride up there, I seen KB. I stayed up there for the weekend, and they took the same route back home, seeing the same tags. But I remember going back to school and asking my classmates, because I had classmates that were bused to my school from Germantown. I had one friend from Somerville and one from Wessel Blaine. They caught the same school bus. And I asked them, who's KB? And da-da-da. Because we used to always draw and stuff. So I knew that they knew about Graf. So I asked them what KB meant. And they told me it meant Cool Brat. And I told them I seen it, up the way.
did it on my own because it was when I was real young and I did it. This was back when I still lived around Granite Street. And, there was nobody really writing, you know what I mean? It was just something I remember saying. And then it was one of those things where it was just so bad. And I remember going into grade school, 6th and 7th grade, and the kids from up in Tacony were doing it. You know what I mean? And that's where I started liking it a lot. And one dude wrote, what did he write? Media. This was way, way, way back in the day before the younger kid that writes it now, or a couple of years ago. And he wrote it MEDIA. And his hand was just so nice, dude. It was so cool. And I remember looking at that. And then the dudes I went to grade school with, they were doing it, and their hands were tense.
like shortly after that, I met some guy in the neighborhood. There was an older crew of guys that wrote in the neighborhood. They're actually pretty good. And one guy was in ecstasy. He wrote TARP, T-A-R-P. And he had a bunch of guys with him like, Chise and, Cool Earl and Elvis and Zane. And he knew some other guys, some other writers from around the city like Pap and Brez. So like the local schoolyard was like a really cool place to check out tags and have roughs. And he went down there one time and did a piece, and it was really nice, man. It was like these elongated like bubble letters with like a yellow to green fade, and he had like dots in it and like drips and stuff. And I remember I just like went right up close to the wall looking at it and analyzing how he painted it and stuff, and I was like, yeah, we got to do this now.